Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the SCR podcast, live on XGR's Twitch channel. I am once again back, as I missed the last episode, and I am joined by Dirk and Billboy.
Hello.
Dirk has an extra
How's everyone
special
doing?
guest today.
Yeah, he's hanging out.
Nice. So there has been so many races, so much racing happening over the past few weeks, and we're gonna cover as much as we can today. And I think we're gonna be starting off with the System 7 qualifiers that happened over at ATMO Esports.
Yeah.
What day
They,
did that
What?
actually happen on?
what's up, Billboy?
What day did that actually go down on?
Oh man,
Yeah,
testing me. What was the actual date?
I think this was on the 15th of March. As
This
I
was
have the
right before Open, right? This
Yes.
happened like the day before Open, the Saturday before Open.
Yes, sir. I
It's a tough
believe
one to
that
swing
is.
for the guys who try to race in both.
Yeah. Herbie raced in both. Who else raced in both?
Did Gerbo? Or no, Gerbo was
No,
in pro.
Gerbo didn't race. Herbie raced for them.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I kind of watched it live. I wasn't able to catch the whole thing.
Yeah, it was
It was
quite a
pretty
long
good.
one. It was about a
Yeah,
5-hour
it was a pretty
episode.
long broadcast for the whole qualifier. I got my notes here. We had a couple teams who auto-qualied into this year's System 7. Oh, Amrox Fang did both too. No, did Amrox Fang do... Oh, they did do the Open, right? Yeah, anyways. I'm not sure if any of their pilots had crossovers, but their teams were in both for sure. Sorry, that was Gerbo in chat who reminded me. We had the Blackhawks, Amrox Fang, and Punch Nobis all auto-qualified into this. Into the actual System 7 because they were already in top 3 from last year. If anyone's unfamiliar with System 7, it's probably the biggest like actual ground racing competition in Star Citizen right now. Daymar Rally is pretty big, but the actual like regular ground tracks, System 7 and wheeled racing, yeah, it's the biggest one.
Yeah, it's
So
basically Star Citizen's version of the competitive ground racing scene. It's they kind of add an extra element to the competition where it's open for everyone for signups, but only the top 16, I believe it's the top 16 that qualify actually get to take part in the competition as a whole. So anyone can sign up for the qualifiers, but you have to get into those top 16 spots to be able to actually take part in the competition itself.
Yeah, and it's only for a few months out of the year. It doesn't run the entire year. But it's pretty good. And yeah, I think I already said it. Hawks, Amrox Fang, Punch Nobis, they auto-qualied because Blackhawks won last year. I think Punch Nobis came second and Amrox Fang came third. I could have those two mixed up. I don't remember. I do remember Punch Nobis were very close to winning, but lost in the final race, which was too bad. So a couple of highlights I had. Neojet was the first one who put up like a 121 lap in the quali, and he kind of held the top of the qualifying times for quite a while during the broadcast. At least in the time that I watched, I never saw anyone beat his time the whole time I watched. But then as the time went on, Punch Nomis and Amrox Fang did beat them with some 120s. And did Amrox Fang do a 119? I don't know if you have the time. Yeah, they pulled a 119, which is very impressive on that day. The times were a lot slower.
Yeah,
I think a 118 or 119 is the record lap or something like that. And so some of these guys you would think, some of these guys you think would be able to pull that off, but track was a little slower that day. I think partly due with server and there's a lot of lag people around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Herbie with Punch Nomis, he barely beat Delta Diada's time to take second place. Delta Diada's went third. They were like, what is it, like it's like 50 milliseconds or something.
Don't
it's
remember
so
the
close.
exact deficit, but yeah, it was super close, and it's actually impressive how tight the top packs are for these ground racing competitions. It's unfortunate that you don't really get to see too much of them. But once you hit that System 7, if you actually follow them, they are super close together. It's very competitive.
Yeah, you can see on the stream here that everyone came out in their best digs, the brand new racing suits, which is nice to see right away.
Hell yeah.
Those just came out. Amarok's Fang took pole. They had a 119. It was good. So we'll see how the rest of that race goes. There's not too much more to talk about for the qualifiers.
Not really. I'm just gonna bring up the end results of them right there. For anyone who is interested, those are the end results for the System 7's qualifiers. Amarok's Fang, there we go, with a 119.9.
And then when's the first
Yeah, kind of
race?
crazy to see Blackhawks all the way down at 6 when they won last year. I guess it's qualifiers. You don't care too much about having to put up a great time, and they already auto-qualified, so
Yeah.
they didn't have to be too worried.
Again, top 16 teams gets qualified, right? So even if you qualified 16th, it won't really change that much, because at the end of the day, it's one, how you perform in the races, and two, how kind the servers are to you, right? I mean, as we said, Panjnomi's very good performance last year, but unfortunately kind of got screwed over, I guess is the word, in the the final race. But that's just the nature of racing a Star Citizen. We've all felt it at some point or another, so ship racing or ground.
Yeah, I did want to just give a shout out to Test Squadron. They just barely qualified into System 7, so we'll see how they do. They're getting into racing now, man. They've got that's like the biggest organization in Star Citizen, I think.
Yep.
And now they're starting to get into it, so it'd be nice to see them out there a lot.
They're getting
Bill,
into
I don't know if you had anything much about. Oh, sorry.
I was just wondering when's the first race for this now that qualifying's done.
Middle 24-hour.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they announced something. So System 7 race 1 and 2. The first one is going to be on Saturday 29th March. Or March 29th. And race 2, I don't have the actual date. Where the heck is it? Oh, both of them are the same day, right? Yeah, it's just going to be one big broadcast of 2 races, I believe. Both of them are going to be at Orison. So if it's gonna be in the middle of 24 hour, just imagine if Orison is just on one side you have the Crux Cup 24 hour going, and on the other side you have the System 7 on the platforms.
Yeah.
Gerbo, are you actually racing in both of them?
No, he's not. Thank God. He was going to.
Oh.
Well, I don't think.
In chat like he is.
Maybe he is now, but I thought he wasn't, because I thought that was the conversation, was he was going to be doing it, because he's their hover guy for Punchnomi's. I think he doesn't. I think he does all the hover racing for them.
Is it? Can you not have? I guess I didn't know how many guys are on their team.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4 per team.
Yeah, you don't have to race every race. You guys can cover each other. So I think they like to have certain guys cover certain parts.
Sure.
Yep. All right, I think that's all we have to say for the System 7.
We got a lot to go over. So.
Yeah, we have a lot to go over, and we can cover System 7 as the events go on. As you know, the events will be starting on the same day as the 24 hours. So probably the next podcast will have 24 hour to cover and 2 races of System 7. So look forward to more racing coverage there. But on to Crux Cup. We have OpenGP and ProGP, but we'll start off with OpenGP. Do you have anything that kind of caught your eye from that? While I get something set up.
Bilbo, you got anything?
I don't know. It was a chaotic race, like Crux Cup always is.
Yeah.
I guess first shout out, I liked seeing Louis up there. His team winning that one. They're in the Aurora division, which previously has been won by Steve and Speedweed, but
yeah, nowhere to be seen this year though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the green flag lap on that one jacketed, but we'll see if maybe I think there's a ton of explosions at the start.
Yep, there we go. Green flag.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to catch because they didn't have the names on, so it was one of those, I want everyone to show the names when they're doing broadcasts, because it's so much harder to follow when you're watching this and you can't tell who's who.
This is one of the feedbacks that I mean, I didn't give it straight to ANZIA. It's just when I was asked on my stream earlier. I love Oleg's camera work. I know that sometimes it can get a bit dangerous, but you can't argue that it looks amazing. But
Yeah.
when you have a shot of two racers going side by side, and we'll see this later on actually in the Pro GP, there's a shot of a very big accident that happened. No spoilers. You saw it from Oleg's perspective in third person, and you won't know who they are until after you've seen this exact same alert, the ship destroyed, right? So if you were to be in this precision targeting mode, you can still get those really close shots, but you get to see the nameplates, you know? You want to
Yeah.
see who's racing.
Yeah. Yeah, this first lap was pretty dangerous for open. Kelsar, I see there's Paperhand's name. He went down too. Kelsar went down in this first section, these first few turns. Cloak went down before he finished his first lap too. So lots of Sanguis Luna. Dia managed to make it through. Jacqueline's best friend.
Yeah.
He managed to pull it out and survive. Good for him.
Made me proud.
That's kind of what we noticed.
Oh, sorry.
That's kind of what we noticed on the. Oh, you're fine. It's kind of what we noticed on both the Open and the Pro. Is that it seems like this reverse version of the circuit is significantly more dangerous than the standard forward direction, and I think that had a big impact on a lot of the just survivability of the racers. Just some of those turns just much more deadly after you do them 10 times in a row.
Yep, there's Kelsar's name comes up. You're gonna probably see Cloak's pretty soon. It was unfortunate. Cloak was sitting right near the front of the pack when it happened. That was his first race. See what we got for highlights of this one. We got in the Open division of Open GP, we had SCA, the Southern Cross Alliance, took victory. They took first place. That was Duop and Astromedic, I believe, if I'm getting those names right. Pair of Aussie pilots did pretty good. They used P-52s, had great strategy. They were Duop's in there. Congrats, Duop. Good job on that win. I think that was your first race, wasn't it? That was pretty impressive to take a win. Yeah, you had a good teacher in Echo showing you how to do things, and it worked out. I'm happy for you guys.
Yep.
In second place it was Frontier's team. I don't have the name of the pilots. You have the name of the pilots there, Jacqueline, for who won for Frontier?
I do. Give me 1 second. Let me just set this up.
Yeah, we can pull it up real quick.
Where is it? There we go. Right, so we have Southern Cross Alliance with Duop and Astromedic coming in first place. Frontier with Nafty and Prof Decoy.
Yep.
Third
Good
place
job.
Turbo
Good job,
Racing
Prof.
Team with Fedacol. Did he not have a partner? I think Fedacol was a lone wolf for this race.
Yeah, his partner dropped out last minute, if I believe, because the rules this year were you were supposed to have a partner, but things happen. So, but honestly, a third place while you're running solo is pretty impressive because I don't think there's very many teams where both pilots survive the race.
Yep.
Generally, one of them goes out, and then you lose out on your lead or your win. So, good job, Fedical. Good job, Kelsar and Cloak, for even taking fourth place after that crash early and coming back in.
Yep, nice recovery.
Happy for them. Yeah. Prof, I know, was really hoping to get a first in this race, which is too bad for Prof, but still second place is nothing to scoff at. It's good result.
It's a very tough race to recover from, I'll be honest. I mean, one crash is well, depends on what class you're in, but one crash could be 2-3 laps, I mean, in the Pro, it was only a 1 lap deficit for certain ships, but we'll get to Pro when we get to Pro. But yeah, I mean, the collisions in OpenGP there were a lot of them for sure, and the recovery time was quite long. So if you manage to survive, very, very big advantage there.
Bilbo, do you have anything else for Open before we get over to the Aurora class?
I don't think so. Let's move on.
All right. Let me just...
Oh, yeah, it was pretty good. Louis, like you said, Louis in the 509s take first in Aurora. Happy for Louis.
Yeah, Louis doesn't get out there and race very much, but it's nice to see he's able to shake the rust off and have some good consistent racing.
Professional button presser winning the Aurora class.
He does great, man. If anyone doesn't know, Louis is the main
race director.
Called? his main cat herder, race director. Yeah, main cat herder for XGR. He knows. I think it's more than a dozen languages or something, isn't it?
6, I believe he speaks 6 languages.
Okay. I heard someone
Fluently, at
exaggerate. I was
least.
like, that's
Fluently, he
crazy.
speaks 6, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if he knows another
Don't get carried
6.
away. It's only 6, Dirk. It's only 6.
It's only
Only
my
6.
bad. My bad. Me sitting over here with 2, like I'm freaking nobody. Yeah. Yeah, Louis, that's really good for him, man. I'm happy for him.
And it's nice.
And then
to
second place there, you got Test.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about tests in System
huge
7. That's what I'm
showing,
saying.
man.
They're going to show up, man.
Yeah, I don't think they really even they qualified fairly low, didn't they? And they must have just had a really good consistent race. I think a lot of it was people dying in front of them, but that's kind of how most of the races went because it's all about survival at the end of the day usually in Crux Cup.
I just
And
gotta say, on the topic of Aurora, Lens actually went through all of the positional changes in the Aurora. Well, in all of the classes, and this is the Aurora class.
Oh yeah, this one is crazy.
Yeah.
This is just all over the place. So many position changes here.
I'm having a hard time. Who's Red? Who's the Red name?
Was Red Wolf. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's tough for Red Wolf because I think he was a pretty big favorite in that one. Red Wolf is a great pilot.
Who's Blue? Who makes the dip down at the end?
Zollner.
Yes.
Zollner managed to take over the lead when Red Wolf had that accident.
Sorry, Zollner, man. That sucks.
On the last lap.
Yeah. Test? Yeah, Test comes from like third last, fourth last.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, steadily made their ways up. I mean, it's an endurance race. That's what it is, man. It's just about surviving. I was having a conversation with Sacratus, actually. And we'll get to it, but I was talking about Fresh crashing out in Crux, which, bit of a spoiler, but if you pay attention, you already knew that happened. And he was talking about how, man, you're the fastest pilot by like a big margin, and then you lose the race on a crash. Like, oh, that's just like, I like this form. Like, kind of, he was like, he's not a fan of the format a bit, and I was talking to him about it, and I was like, man, I agree, but the whole race is an endurance race, and it's just like you just gotta survive. And like, yeah, it happens in every division. We're gonna see this, I think, across every division. Is that pilots who come back from the bottom, and just survive, they end up with really great results by the end of it, just from consistency. You don't have to be the fastest at all to win this. Fastest helps. I mean, you'll see in pro that it helps. The winners all had great pace. But it's not just about being the fastest.
Yeah, if it was just about speed, then you should just stick to time trials because racing is a lot more goes into it than just your pace.
100%.
Yeah, we had Dad Corp was third, so good for them. I'm unfamiliar with them, but I hope to see them coming out more. I love this Aurora division always. Yeah, it was dominated by XGR in the past, and they've done it again by Louis technically being an XGR guy, taking first again. But it's always, you get the most interesting groups in this one, so it's good. Yeah. I don't know if you had anything else for Aurora before we go to Heavy.
I guess you said you weren't familiar with Dad Corp. Carlito's been around though.
Was that Carlito?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Carlito on that. I didn't see it.
I do believe Carlito did have an accident early on that kind of threw him back, or
no, it looks
Carlito.
Like, yeah.
There we go.
Crashed
early,
and then,
early on and just stayed in the back. But
was it his teammate that got him the third place then? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Up there in third. He just had a good consistent race, looks like. Might have had an accident, but yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the Aurora class was shuffling like crazy from very early on. I'm actually curious because we did not highlight the open one of it, so that this is the open.
Yeah, similar chaos, a little more consistency towards the end there, but
very nice, clean racing from Duop, managing to take that lead within the first few laps and hold on to it. And then a lot of chaos happening over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelsar and Cloak with just an immediate drop at the beginning.
Yep.
Could not recover it, unfortunately.
I love these kind of graphs, man. Lens Nation did such a good job. I don't know if these have never been done before, right? He just decided, I'm just gonna grab all the times and just put them in a graph, and like beautiful representation of the whole race in just one image here. So
I want to see this for more
Shout out
stuff.
to
I don't think we
Landscape
have it
for
for
that.
Pro GP, sadly, but
No, because
I want more.
I believe the version that was posted was when before the retiming. So
Yep. All right. Shall we go to heavy?
and the heavies. Sorry, I'm switching live here.
You're good.
Production. All right.
Yeah, heavy. Yeah, heavy. Herbie wins again. I think that's the second win in a row for
Yep.
heavy division
The
in Crux Cup. Way to
defending
go! It's his
reigning
shit.
champion.
Yeah, it is good. Was with Estrella.
Australia
And
also
yeah,
had
it's
a
just
very good
consistent.
run at the
Didn't crash.
beginning, but I think crashed out. There was such a good battle. I can leave the VOD running in the background if you want, but yeah, there was such a good
Yeah.
battle between Astria, Dionyseman, Lampus for a very big portion of the race. They were constantly swapping positions. I mean, Herbie was slowly extending the gap, but there was a very nice three-way fight for that P2 spot. And then, as the nature of the Crux Cup goes, the accidents started piling up on top of each other, and Dionyseman managed to steer clear of a lot of it to secure that P2 for him. So, well done for him.
Yeah, well done, Dio.
Just
Yeah,
to
Rear
show
Gear is a good pilot
those
too.
position changes right there.
Oh boy.
A bit of
A
a
little more
darker tone
resilient.
here, so
A little bit more resilient ships with the heavies, not as much
yeah, they can take a
destruction.
hit for sure. And I believe Dionyseman actually had a small collision close to the end and ended up finishing the race with a missing engine or with a part of the ship broken. So they can definitely take a hit or two before they can go all out.
I like how Herbie's line is just a straight line on the top.
Yep.
Took
Just,
the lead and kept the lead.
The most pace and the most consistency, and
That's what Jelly's line would look like in AX3.
Yeah,
that's the top two. Aren't the top? Oh, that's what. And yeah, and you're in
Colbosa,
Kerbos are both just. You have two lines that are right across the.
Yeah,
top.
yeah. Yeah.
I believe
I would
yours
love
would
to have
be
that
too,
graph
right?
for that. Yeah, it would be.
Nice. I'm gonna see if I can grab a piece of the VOD from the OpenGP showing the battles here. If you have anything else to talk about, by all means. Do you have a favorite moment of OpenGP at all?
Bill, did you watch it a lot, or did you get a chance?
I watched a little bit. I've just been really busy, but no, I didn't watch a whole lot of it. But yeah, the bits and pieces I did watch. I mean, the opening couple minutes are always exciting because there's always a lot of crashes and stuff, and everyone's right on top of each other. Great. Oh yeah, this is what I was just about to talk about. I absolutely loved the shots of the heavies. They always look so good cruising through the struts there. They're just so big.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just have such a good visual. They're not like a little tiny speck that all of a sudden pops into existence. You can see them from a long way off coming in. And
Very easy to get.
Yeah.
And as you can see here, I mean, this is exactly what we were talking about. These are the three moles of Dionyseman, Astria, and Lampus just constantly on each other. They stayed like this for a very, very big part of the race.
Man, that's gotta be almost like you're coming down the straight and you're like, come on. Just like
move a little bit
faster,
more.
faster. It's like when you see racers in their go-karts when they're like shoving their body forward on the straight to try to get a little bit more. Yeah.
You gotta
It's
say,
good, man. I didn't have any like specific crazy moments.
I mean,
just a pretty good race.
One thing that's important to note here is that the OpenGP is meant to be a sort of like an amateur class, right? Because there isn't really any of the fast ships. Like racing ships, like dedicated racing ships, are not allowed in the OpenGP. So you have the three classes. You have the Open, which is basically bring any ship you want that is not a dedicated racing ship, and I'll get to a point there in a second. You have the Heavy class, which is basically the chunky boys, and the Aurora, obviously any form of the Aurora. So it's very it's leaning towards, if you're a brand new player, you probably don't own a racing ship. Whatever pledge you had, just bring it and race it, and just see how you do. Get in touch with the community. throw yourself in the track and see what our actual race feels like. It's very open. It's literally open to everyone, right? So if you are a brand new actually don't even need to be a brand new player, but if your interest in racing is fresh, grab whatever ship you have. Not fresh the pilot, fresh.
I was just thinking
Yeah,
that. Good fresh.
but yeah, if you have
You
any
wanna be
interest
like
in racing,
Fresh.
if you want to be like Fresh, just grab any
Yep,
ship,
start
go
now.
into an open, and start now.
If you want to be like Fresh, start 2 weeks ago. Actually, sorry, start a year ago. Yeah.
No, but yeah,
I'll get you in. I'll get you in boot camp, man. We'll do it. I'd love if a pilot at some point like came up to me and was like, I want to be as good as Fresh. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I'll give you the training regime. I'll give it to you.
yeah,
Quit
that
your
was me
job.
last year.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's how I joined Sanguis, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, and then you got there. I'd
Close
say you're
enough.
as good as Fresh was last year.
Yeah, a year behind, but we're there. Yeah, but on that topic, we just saw a shot of the P-52 there in a valid ship for the open class, but also considered the meta ship for time trial racing just because of its sheer overpowered acceleration. There's an argument to be had, and I think there was an argument had on the last podcast about the P-52's validity in a class like this, where it's supposed to be open for all, and yet you have a meta racing ship there. It was used by, I believe, SCA, right? Southern Cross Alliance was using the P-52 and did come out with the win.
Yep.
Not sure how much do you think the P-52 actually contributed to that win versus just being consistent and keeping away from danger there.
Kelsar said even without the crash, he didn't think he would have been able to beat them.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's still like they still grinded it out. I mean, they said it in chat that they were grinding it out for like 6 weeks for this race and getting consistent. So it's like maybe if they'd been if they weren't given the option of the P-52 and they had been in the Buccaneer, they might have still had that pace advantage anyways. So it's kind of hard to say because it was a pretty good mix and open. But I think what mattered was that the SCA guys grinded, they put in their time, they figured out a really good strategy, and they were able to pull it off on the day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not trying to undermine their accomplishment. I was just wondering
Yeah, you're good.
the power of the P-52 in a class like this. You know, again, given that it is probably the fastest ship at the moment and has been for quite some time, actually. So
there were P-52s that got beat by Buccaneers, so I don't know if that helps you.
Pilot skill obviously is a very huge factor, regardless of what ship you're driving. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I think we can move on to the Pro GP then.
Yeah, we got a lot. We're
that.
already half an hour into this episode, so the Pro GP is going to be the longest part.
Yeah, I mean it's the one that's fresh on our minds right now. And
Bill boy, you wanna introduce this one a little bit?
What are we
Give
doing? Starting with the Pro?
Yeah.
Or the A-Crux?
Sure, or whatever, however you want to start, man.
Yeah, I guess we can start with A-Crux. Obviously the fastest ship selection with the M50. And usually, in this case, definitely had the best pilot spread. Just all the top pilots were competing in A-Crux. It seemed like this time, and it had some really, really close pace deltas to start it off. Very beginning of the race, yeah, I guess we're seeing it right here, was complete chaos with how tight it was going through the first, I don't know, 2 laps or so. It was pretty neck and neck. I think Fresh and Jacketin had a nice early lead, and Data Machine came out really, really strong. That I think kind of surprised some people how fast he was.
Oh yeah,
I think he was probably the second fastest pace wise out there. He was right behind Fresh's pace. He didn't have quite as good of a start. I think Fresh being start on the very front, you get that clean air, and you can just start pushing right away. You don't have to worry about people around you. You just go as fast as you can and hope that they're behind you now, so you don't have to worry about them as much.
Yep.
So I think that helped him get a good little lead at the beginning. But yeah, Data Machine got in there behind him pretty quickly, and I had a rough start, crashed right away, and that was just unfortunate. But yeah, at the end of the day, it ended up being kind of just a survival game for everybody. Because yeah, everyone except for Playing Fox and Dude 3D, I think, had a crash.
In the
Yeah,
end,
they're the only two.
That made the difference at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%.
Because yeah, we ended up with Playing Fox taking the win at the end. With Fresh having a very, very late crash. I think there was only maybe 20 minutes left in the race.
I think less. It was almost
10 minutes.
Dude.
So yeah, it looked like I think probably about 35 minutes left in the race. Playing Fox was 17 or so seconds off of Fresh, and that delta just stayed the same for the whole rest of the race until the incident Fresh had with Bobbit.
Yep.
And that was just I think you have the clip somewhere, but
yep, I can.
That was just a bit of an unfortunate reality of racing in ships like the M50 that have really limited visibility. So Fresh was saying here he's looking down, he sees Tint, because Tint's in his class, he knows Tint's gonna be really close to him. So he sees Tint, he's like really tunnel visioning on him, like I don't want to hit him coming into this turn. Then right when he started pitching up, he didn't realize Bobbit was below him, but it's too late because he can't see anything below him now that he's already rolled like that. And then they just merged in the middle of the tunnel there. And
I thought Fresh was basically like, that's entirely my fault. 2 tunnel vision on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're making the overtake, it should be your responsibility to watch out for the other pilot. But sometimes, with the amount of blind spots you have in a ship like the M50, and the fact that you have to do a pitch turn through there, I know you guys in the well, here we have a clip of the 300 series. You guys could yaw through the. You guys could yaw through the turns, so you had that visibility on the outside and the inside of the turn. But when you're in the M50, you have to do a pitch through there for the best.
The argument could be made that Fresh was ahead of Bobbit, and Bobbit was the one that was supposed to get. But it doesn't matter.
I doubt Bobbit saw Fresh either there. So
and Fresh knows how to improve that for next time. I mean, should I? Speaking of, from the start, there we were talking about how Data Machine had crazy pace. Should I leak what you were saying in chat, Jacketin, in our VC? About Data Machine?
I don't remember what you're referring to, but sure, go ahead.
You were just, I remember early on in the race, you saying in our team voice chat, you're like, what? How is Data Machine so fast?
Oh, yeah. Bro,
you're just like, what the hell? You're like, I don't get it. And he's like, you're like, he's not normally this fast.
Yeah,
he is in Crux Cup.
I don't have that much experience racing Data Machine, but I have a lot of experience racing Boltalk, and I was expecting no diss on Data Machine, but I was expecting Boltalk's name, not Data Machine's name. So when I started seeing us constantly swapping places at one point, I was like, damn, this guy's got pace, man. No, but honestly, I loved it, and Data Machine, props to you. And then the pace was insane. I mean, definitely, he was, I think he was lapping 2 or 3 tenths better than me per lap. So definitely had a pace advantage over me. I did see that he was using the bicord bug. I mean, we're calling it bicord bug, but I did notice he was using the bicord bug. I did not opt to use it. I'll be honest, I didn't get a lot of practice in it, so wasn't 100% confident in using it in the turns. So I just decided to fly the normal way. And I feel like I had good enough pace doing that I did not need to compromise what I know. So yeah, but Data Machine definitely had the practice down and definitely was gaining the advantage, because I was seeing him every time that we were coming out of a turn together, I was pitching and he was using the bicord, and he was constantly getting like a 700 to 800 meter gap just at the exit just by using that. So
yeah,
definitely helped with the pace.
Yeah, if we ever get to a point here, because we're talking about like being close to people and trying to avoid collisions, if we ever get to a clip here where it shows my position that from this point on in the race, after completing lap 1 into lap 2, so Nextro crashed at the very beginning of the race, and he got back in before people were finishing their first lap, so he got back in pretty early in time. Or no, I think it's on the second lap. Anyways. Dude, he was taking. Look, this is no. I'm not trying to. I was getting upset. No, it's fine. But like I could not find my lines because he was flying his time trial lines, and our pace was like close enough. I could not get ahead of him. I spent the entire race. I was a lap ahead of him in total lap count. But like I was doing in practices, I was doing 356s, 57s really consistently on my lines. And when we checked the lap times afterwards from ANZIA, I was doing 4-minute laps along with him. But it was fine. We our strategy was basically, we got such a big lead at the start in AX2.
Yeah.
Gerbo had I had like 4 kilometers on the person behind us, and Gerbo had another kilometer or 2 on me, like off of turn 1. We just came out really clean, and we held that like the whole time. And I basically just sat back a little bit and let Gerbo front run it, and I was the safety car basically, make sure we don't lose our lead. Even if something happened to Gerbo, I was still well ahead. But yeah, it was a fun race. I don't know, Bill, what was your highlight of it? What was your favorite part?
My highlight, I mean, it's it's not just because of the way the race turned out, where it was whoever managed to not crash is the ones who ended up towards the front. But right when Fresh said that he crashed, he said it really kind of quietly, and I was like,
"That's
"Was
Fresh's voice."
Did
like Fresh crash?
Was that Fresh who just said they crashed? I was like, couldn't tell if it was. I was like, I just waited thinking, no, probably not. There's no way Fresh crashed. And yeah, I remember just waiting to see the actual official like call on the stream saying that if it was Fresh or not. And then my race was pretty much over at that point because I had 2 crashes, and so I was kind of just helping out, playing Fox, just monitor who was in front of him and behind him and how much space he had and stuff. And then once Fresh was gone, it was just like, okay, you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds on you got 30 seconds on 3D behind you. You just gotta just keep running your line.
Yep.
And
the fabled moment where we had the Fresh crash. Boom.
Is that here?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a third-person camera view of it, and that's Tint going through.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, there's no nameplate, so we had to wait.
Can
like
you go back?
30
Can you
seconds.
see?
Yeah.
Can you see the collision when it happens?
No,
like how
this
well
is
do you
Do
see
3D
it?
running. I believe that was Do 3D, and you just see that that's the moment. So that was Bobbit and the Peregrine and
that's a pain. That's a shame.
You could see. I'm just gonna go back here just a bit. I think this is following Dude. Dude 3D was the one in the blue M50, right? I might be mistaken here, but yeah, you could see the Peregrine was actually passing in the back there. Playing Fox. My highlight was winning.
Playing Fox said in the chat, yeah.
That's what.
No, that's Tint. Yeah, that's Tint right behind him.
That's Tint. That was Tint. That was the
Tint. Yeah, the
that was
blue
the race.
Tint.
That was the racer that Fresh was trying to focus on not hitting, and then hit someone else. Because Tint was, as you can see, very close to that entry to the turn.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that ended up being interesting during the race is since it became kind of the meta or the strategy for straightaways like these ones to gain some altitude really quick, to get that extra that extra speed from the less dense atmosphere. It ended up making the crossover between exiting Kaplan onto that straight and entering going down towards Kaplan. Yeah, it made it pretty dang close sometimes for racers crossing there, because I think if you take the line that's straight to Milford, you didn't really run the risk. But if you were gaining a bunch of altitude coming through, you would be pretty close to people crossing over, and it got sketchy a few times.
Jacqueline, do you have that photo that I posted?
Oh yeah,
the meme.
I have it.
Do you have the meme? Can you pull that up?
1 second, I'll have it. Yeah.
I was coming around out of Kaplan on like the just before white flag lap, and I had a little evil on my little devil on my shoulder. Do it. Yeah, this is my
You have to zoom in a bunch, but the M50 right in front of Dirk is playing Fox.
That's playing Fox currently in the lead, and he crosses over at like the closest like 80 meters. Like it doesn't quite show it. This is the closest I could see it, but he was within like 80 meters at one point there. If I had decided I was gonna do it to him, and I had started moving to the right to like cut him off, it would have easily cut him off. Like
Yes, the Sanguis Luna Black
And
Star
then
rivalry knows no limits.
I thought about it, man. I really thought about it.
One thing that I want to touch on, to be honest, I mean, this is from Colbosa's point of view. This is a very, very, very close shave between him and Jelly had made. These two, we've mentioned it already before, but these two had a massive, massive race, constantly on each other. This was an insanely close shave, but as it goes on, I'll just let
This
this
is
scene.
insane.
Yeah, this is just phasing
Ugh.
through each other. That was
Ugh.
insanely
Yeah.
Gives me the
close.
heebie-jeebies.
But this is
Yeah,
something.
I don't. I'm biased because I'm Jelly's team captain.
Yeah.
But goddamn it, Colbo. So I just take that line like that. You saw him right below you.
I feel like that was one of those situations where you look down, you see someone right like in pace with you right next to you, and you're like, what like sometimes you just can't turn the gears fast enough in your head to figure out like, well, what can I do here to be safe? Like I don't know what they're gonna do on their turn. I don't know. Like either you just totally slow down and give up the position, or just send it and hope for the best. And that's kind of what happened in that situation, because I mean you just never know where they're gonna end up being through that turn unless you are have a better view. Which when you're looking through your ship just at a party marker, you really just don't know what you're looking at.
Just rough.
Jelly and Colbosa were so close the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah. They both had a crazy race.
One thing that I find really interesting.
Colbosa had an excellent performance.
Yeah, 100%. He's so fast. Something that you mentioned earlier. So the strat that a lot of people adopted, right, was to take some altitude going out of the corner, find that nice sweet spot plateau, and then start making your way back down. But I've noticed, like, even in this clip right here of Colbosa, opted to go for just a straight shot. And Jelly got like 1.5 kilometers on him on the straight, but they get to Milford at the same time. So, like, it's only a 500-meter gap at this point. So, it's very interesting to see that the altitude kind of, I don't know if it's boost strat or something, but Colbosa managed to stay on pace with Jelly relatively well for the whole race. I mean, I believe by the end, the gap was still less than 1 kilometer at the very end of the race between Jelly and Colbosa, right?
It was so close. Did you ever use this view at all, Billboy? Did you see that? Where you do the little
Yeah, I
zoom
see people
in
doing
thing?
that.
Yeah.
Is it new that you can actually bind it to to your joysticks? Because I remember looking for it and never being able to find the bind to put on the joysticks.
It's under the view section. I think it's flight view.
Okay.
It's at the very bottom called ADS.
Yeah, no, it looks useful in certain situations,
Yeah, I was
especially like
using
this.
it
I mean,
too. The party marker soup, it helps split up the party markers, and you can actually see through it. There's two bindings.
It's great
There's
in the
one where you
straights.
go into precision mode, and then there's another one where you can hold it to zoom in all the way in. And
that's dynamic zoom.
Yeah,
dynamic zoom is the one that zooms in. Yeah. I did see some pilots who were like sitting on that view, that zoomed in view, the entire time. And I wouldn't recommend that because you can't really see where other people are in corners. But you get good TVI management, I guess.
Yeah. So do we want to pull up? I don't think we've actually even looked at the results.
The results?
Those results.
Yeah.
Results pages.
Yeah, Crux is pretty good. Yeah, you were talking about Playing Fox got the win.
Yeah.
Got that first
Playing
place.
Fox
he stayed behind.
Playing Fox stayed pretty just tentative in the first couple laps, just wanted to survive, and absolutely ended up paying off because I think he was kind of at the back of the pack first 2 laps or so.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. At the very start of the race, I saw, I don't know if we don't have to go back to the VOD, but Plain Fox and Dude 3D were the guys that were the tail end of the main A-Crux pack. And they're the ones that ended up winning when all the rest of them of Bull Talk, Billboy, Fresh, Jacketin, all you guys crashed. Data Machine, you guys all crashed.
Yeah, I think at some point, if you're relying on that strategy, I mean, it makes it a lot easier to survive when you don't have other racers to think about the whole time. Even if you can just keep running your line and you're not going to hit them, just having them a little bit closer can make all the difference of just you glance at them an extra time before you make your turn and you make a small mistake, and that can be all the difference.
It started off with a crash to death stop, which was kind of devastating, but he did
manage
to come back.
That was really sad for him.
Ninja
Aircash was sitting in third until the very end, actually.
Yep.
Gerbo and Aircash were basically sitting next to each other. Where I was hanging out with Nextro, Gerbo was hanging out with Aircash the whole time, and I had the missile, I think, with me too. But so like they were pacing fairways behind when you think about it, right? So they're A Crux, but they are basically sitting in pace with AX2 ships. But it didn't really matter. They were sitting in third up until like almost the very end. And then, yeah, unfortunately, Aircash had a crash, and Frontier goes from third all the way down to fifth, and Sanguis Luna takes that jump up to take the third place. Let's go jacketed and fresh. Good for you, boys.
Playing
Like your
Fox
prize
mentioning
is better than any of the other prizes, anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
Playing Fox is mentioning that he did battle a bit with Dude 3D and Tint a little bit until his PC crashed. I do actually remember that now that Dude 3D was right on Playing Fox for a good 10 or so minutes until he eventually slowly started pulling away. But
yeah, they spent a lot of that race together.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it was a super close race. I mean, I feel really bad for Ninjetti as well. Ninjetti, obviously being a person who's been, I think, been part of Crux Cup since the start. I think he's one of the OG racers, and unfortunately had one crash and just could not recover. Like the game itself could not recover. He had that infinite black screen, so he wasn't regenning. He tried relaunching the game, but the game locked him out. So just only got those 4 laps in, had that one unfortunate accident, and could not come back. Felt very sorry for him.
Yeah, he had the same problem as
Only one in the
Fedical.
Razor in there too.
Yeah, and he had the same problem as Fedical, where his teammate wasn't there, which is too bad.
True, yeah. Energy had some PC problems, so couldn't run Star Citizen on the day.
Should we take a look at AX2? There's an impressive second place in AX2.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So as I race in this, I can go over this. Gerbo and I just kind of ran away with this one a little bit. We honestly, Gerbo was just very consistent from the start. So was I. We were focusing a lot more on surviving and completed laps than pace. Like I say, it was like 5 seconds slow on my pace, but I did not care about it because we had such a good lead from the start. But a couple highlights. Cat 740 taking second place was really impressive. He's the only other one I think in AX2 who didn't have a crash.
Yep.
I think everyone else crashed besides Gerbo himself and me. Yeah, he did a great job. Pulled out a second place. He was a fair ways back, but still he was consistent, and that's kind of what mattered. As far as the pilots, I was kind of personally worried about who were gonna be faster than us was guys like Ricky Ticky and Sire, who ended up in third place. He had a crash fairly early.
Yep.
Which is too bad for him. It's unfortunate. What else
Maverick,
we got?
Unfortunately, got caught with the bug where even though he was in nav mode, he was stuck in SCM cap. So
yeah,
a nice casual stroll through Crux Cup this year.
Yeah, Canadian Maverick was unfortunately slow. Noise Maze and Nextro also had some early crashes. Nextro had 2 crashes. One in the very first lap, and then the second crash wasn't until very late, almost on the last lap. Probably, I think it was the last lap that he was working on, and didn't have time to get back onto the track before the checkered flag. But I mean, as far as pace, man, Nextro and I, like I say, we spent the whole race. I couldn't find a safe place to pass him. So if it was the 24-hour, I might have been more aggressive, knowing that I could have someone jump on there faster for me and stuff. But with the reality of this race being just surviving and not dying, I was like, I'll take 5 seconds off my lap because I know no one else is going to catch up to me if it means I'm staying alive this whole time. But he was doing good. Yeah, it was a good race. Everyone did well.
Yeah, had a few.
Gerbo was phenomenal.
My unfortunate end to the clean sheet was a collision with Noise Maze, unfortunately. And I think I was messaging, I forgot who was I talking to in the chat, and apparently the collision did cause Noise Maze to lose some parts of his ship, so might have been the cause of the accident that he had later on. So I'm calling that racing incident because quite frankly I did not see Noise Maze coming through, and I'm sure that Noise Maze did not see me coming through either. So
Yeah.
I think I have just a small screenshot. I think I just have a small screenshot of. No, I don't have. Oh yeah. So basically, this was my point of view. So just a frame before I exploded, I just see Mesmaze come up like that, and I guess I'll die.
Yeah, that's the end of me. Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough in Acrux to overtake the AX2
Yeah.
ships. I don't think that there's ever been the divisions have never been this close. I feel like in Crux. Usually,
Well,
usually
last year AX2 beat
Well,
Acrux.
that was
right.
once
But
again the merman.
that was yeah. That was a bit of an anomaly. But like the whole, it seems like everybody had to deal with the other class whenever they came up on them. It was you had to really think about where you want to try to pass them because the ships
Yeah.
were pretty much the same speed on the straights. So unless you add like a bunch more boosts in them, you could maybe get by them on the straights. But then you had to go try to pass them the turns, but turns are much more risky to pass in. So it was not easy to make overtakes like it has been sometimes in the past where you can just fly by them. So definitely added an extra thing to think about later in the race when people started catching up with the AX2 guys.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting in 24-hour because everyone, like, even if you're in one of the faster ships going up against a slow ship,
Yeah,
it's still gonna be hard to overtake.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a freebie.
absolutely.
To be honest, after this crash, I started changing the way I take the corners when I go for an overtake because as you said, even on the straights, the speed difference wasn't high enough that you can get a clear overtake on the straight. I think the only place where you can have enough pace to get a clean overtake was the last straight, and also depending on how you take the exit from Shimura to Providence, right? Because there are some people who are boosting in the clean air. There are some people who are pre-boosting from the tunnels, so you kind of have to gauge the speed difference there. And I was getting some passes there, but the majority of them was on the very last straight. So after this Kaplan, I kind of started veering a bit further left, getting an idea of how the person was going to take the line, and then either cutting on the inside or staying wide. So
Yeah, it seemed like the exit at Kaplan was a good spot because a lot of not very many of the 300 series were taking that tiny gap in the top.
Everyone was going
part of
below,
the
right?
strut. So yeah, they were going below. So if you could go above, you could be super aggressive through there and try to just hit some boost on the exit and
Yep.
get by him. But yeah, it definitely was more difficult than it has been previously.
And I gotta say,
Yeah, there's a lot of grouping up too. I was surprised it wasn't a spread out. Like people would just get caught on each other and group up.
Yeah, the
So
whole
look at
grid
AX3.
was stacked. I mean, like between the
Yeah.
Acrux. I mean, I don't think there's a single person in who was part of the Acrux lineup that you can scoff at whatsoever. The same thing with AX2 and the AX3s. A lot of experienced racers or people who were part of the racing scene took a break and came back, and like there were so many people who have so much experience. And I mean, I'm relatively new to the scene, but from everything that I have been a part of and witnessed since I joined, this was probably one of the most intense races I've ever definitely one have been a part of, and two, even the ones that I've seen. Obviously, I was not around for the division series, so you'll probably counter that argument with that. So,
Hey, this is my first Crux Cup gold Crux Cup win, so I'm happy with it.
Hell
nice.
yeah. I think we still have to look at X3, right?
Yep.
One more.
That's the end result.
And then we can go over 24-hour, I think, and then we can call it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pod.
We have Ludox in the chat. One day I'll join these races too until they make me fly better. Dismounted all setup when they did the changes a long time ago. Yeah, it's and there's even more changes to come soon. So the next Crux Cup is going to be way different than what this year was like.
Something I found with the different flight models, it's kind of, if you spend a lot of time on an old flight model and you really get into it, it is really hard to make the change into the new one and to feel comfortable in the new one. I had a hard time going into the master mode changes recently. But I find especially people who got really good or got really used to old models that they almost always do not want to or really fight against trying to learn the new ones or getting into the new ones. I find when new pilots that can come into the scene and learn to race, pick it up really quick and start to perform well in it. But see each your own. If you're not having fun, don't do it. is what I say. But
Yeah.
I think that even if you find it's not fun at first, I think you would be surprised the more you get into it and try to learn the new like quirks of the new system and how to fly it, that it can still be quite fun. I've actually enjoyed every flight model so far, except for one briefly, but there was a tuning problem less than a model problem.
I mean, I joined in 319, so I had to, learn that model up till 322, and I was getting the hang of it, and then 323 hits, and I had to relearn everything. So I can imagine someone who had been spending years mastering the flight model that you had at the time to switch to master mode. It was quite a drastic change for me when I was still, it was still fresh in my mind. So there were some things that I can say, okay, I don't need to put this much effort into learning this anymore because it's going to change with master mode. So, but it's quite a drastic change between what we have now with the constant emphasis on the forward flying versus the whole tricording that we had before. And now with control surfaces coming in soon, I would imagine that they're going to double down on that. I'll be honest. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how they're going to make the distinction between 0G and ATMO, because obviously in 0G it's all about the mavs, and in ATMO it's going to be all about the control services. But how do you make that balance? Gonna be interesting to see, though.
Yeah. I take the philosophy when I'm with almost anything, which is like judge things or people or whatever on their positives first and then their negative seconds, or like what are the good things about this first and then go from there. And I call me a contrarian maybe because I have an unpopular opinion of this, but I actually think that this flight model is pretty good, and I'm pretty excited to see what they do on the next one with control surfaces. I think the combat's way better. People who got really into the combat before hate when I say that, but
Yeah.
it's the problem before was like you couldn't if you didn't sink tens to hundreds of hours in, you could not even like participate in the combat before. It would just be flying at you and going all out, like you wouldn't be able to see it at all.
I don't know what happened there, but we fixed it and we're back.
Okay, well, all I was saying was at least now, and I think this is really important to Star Citizen, is now anyone can participate in the combat at least. That was what I was trying to get to. Anyways.
My one comment on this new flight model is, regardless of what people say, because we've heard, veterans even in the racing community saying that this new flight model sucks, bring back tricording, etc., etc. There's no freedom of expression. You can tell a good pilot from a rookie or from a person who doesn't put in the hours. So clearly there is some sort of expression into the way the flight model works. Yes, the way you attack a situation, the way you take corners, the way you turn, the way you optimize the ship's capabilities is vastly different from what it was. There's still certain freedom of expression to it. It's just in a different way. So it's, as you said, it's embracing the positives of it and just building from there. I mean, at the end of the day, the game is still going to be built for the enjoyment of the players. I mean, but we still have to appreciate the fact that things will change until we get that sweet spot. But anyways,
Yeah.
that is
I mean
quite a tangent. So
yeah, I was gonna say the thing is there's nothing like it with it. Like if I want to do spaceship racing, which I want to do,
yep,
this is kind of my only option. There's like a few other like small games that kind of do it similar, but they're not the same and it's not quite right. Plus, there's those skills you learn racing, you get to take them into other parts of this game. And anyways, I really like racing, so it's kind of like it doesn't really matter what they do to the flight model unless they really make it just completely unfun.
yep,
Then I will keep learning it and I'll adjust with it.
I'm
So
exactly the same. But anyways,
yeah,
AX3 highlights.
talk about the actual results. Yeah. Yeah.
We have
Joe,
an
what-
AX3 competitor right here in the chat with Smithy.
Yeah. Smithy's feeling bad that we're taking a look at this result because he took 5th place. It's a long fall off from last year's peak, Smith. from first to fifth.
That's what happens when you put an Omega pilot and not an Omega.
Yeah, he didn't get the advantage.
It's unfortunate, the state of the Mustang, though. Would have
Yeah,
loved
we-
to see the Mustang and the Peregrine actually fight it out on track, but it's not in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Jelly and Liquid who took OW. Good for them.
Yeah,
Jelly
Jelly
was
managed
the
to stay in
front runner
front the
on
whole
this.
time, but
Yeah.
he was definitely not smooth sailing up front the whole way because he was battling for the lead with Colbosa, like we
Oh,
said,
yeah.
pretty much the whole race, which is awesome.
They were literally next to each other the whole time. Maybe we can get the finish. Do we have that clip of the finish itself to see? Because it was so close. It was great. Yeah, Neojet took third place. With no crashes. This division actually had very few crashes overall. Because almost everyone had like 15 laps completed, so it was kind of one of those. If anyone crashed, it could have been anyone's game. Is this Jelly? Oh, this is Colbosa's view.
Colbosa's perspective.
This is Colbosa's perspective. Yeah.
Okay,
Isn't
so
this
going
what you
down
wanted
to
to see?
Kaplan. Yeah. Is this the checkered flag
Final
lap?
stage, yeah.
Yeah.
This is okay. Is this the very last lap then?
Very last lap, yeah. It should be.
Yeah, Colbosa even got it even closer on this than he did on previous laps. Obviously, he burned a little more boost, but I think he had a better like finishing boost than Jelly did.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
think they
pretty
definitely
impressive.
were on a different boost strategy. And I see a question in chat from Blue Ducks. Is each division racing at the same time? Yeah. So basically, at any given time, there's 3 divisions. There's the A Crux, which consisted of either the M50 or the Razor. It just so happens that 10 pilots went with the M50, 1 went with the Razor. You had the AX2, which was basically any 300 series, as their performance is pretty much identical right now, just small changes here and there. So any
325A
300
was
series.
slightly faster in a turn, but yeah.
Yeah. And then the AX3 was either the Peregrine or the Mustangs. But unfortunately, the Mustangs is kind of in a poo-poo state, so everybody went with the Peregrine.
Yeah, it's just like in real life Le Mans, where it's a multi-class race, and
Yeah, right
they
there
put
you
them all
could
out there at
see
the same
the
time, but they're
danger of
scored
the
separately.
crossover.
Yeah, that's
Just who is that coming through?
yeah. So how close are they right now? Like 2 kilometers?
Who was that? Was that me?
Is that say 2 kilometers they're apart?
Yeah,
right now?
2.3 kilometers.
Yeah,
they're close.
That's ridiculously close for this long of a race.
Yep, and he's saving boost right now, so the Jelly's
Right.
probably burning, so that gap will probably come down for the finish line.
Man, that was so tight. They could have. Yeah, they could have totally. They could have gone either way on this. Jelly could have just made a small mistake even at any point, and it would have been death for him.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even not dying, just making a mistake where you have to pull out of a turn or something, or make a really severe correction.
Yeah.
And could have lost enough time to get overtaken.
Yeah. And then it's just I find this track especially, I was really impressed with the depth of how to gain more time on this track was, and like the amount of labbing we did. We still gained. Like you think 3 weeks out this track would be solved, but we were from like days out, people were still finding improvements.
Yep.
Yeah, way different than it's been previously. I mean, it's definitely just because of how the current flight model is right now, with the altitude being such a big factor, and yeah, just kind of some of the weirdness with like bicording and pitching and yawing and pitching down, and all have slightly different just whatever behavior. While previously, like the A Crux race with the Herald, it was just about staying on TBI. That was the only factor. It was just you just use all your boost, and then you let it recharge, and you use all your boost, let it recharge, and just stay on TBI, and everyone would be very close together. But yeah, there was a lot of variation in racing lines and how much pace it gave you here at this race.
Oh, let's pull up the final actual result. There you go. Let me zoom in on this one a bit because I can barely read it.
Yeah.
So the VOD, the timers have a very difficult job. So I'm not like, this isn't any knock on them, but it is fairly inaccurate. Like it just said Dirk finished 8th place. Actually, I finished 4th. Gerbo, it said, was like 10th or 12th. Actually, Gerbo finished 3rd overall. Which, looking at this is kind of crazy. Don't you think a little bit? Like, I know our pace was not that much slower, but like for
it is.
AX2 to be 3-4-5 is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if
the-
Playing Fox and Dude 3D had a crash, then you guys would have won the entire race.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Second
Yeah.
year in a row, it would have been AX2 top of the board.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, the top 5 are the you guys were the top 5 to survive the whole thing. The only 5 with no accidents, right?
Yeah.
I think everyone at some point or another got succumbed to an accident. I guess.
Oh, Jelly and
AX3,
Colbosa and Neojet. So those
they
three
were
too.
they were
Yeah.
significantly slower though.
Yeah, but the AX3 is obviously the slower of the 3 classes. So.
Yeah. For context, the red is Crux, teal is AX2, and purple is AX3. If you're looking at this and you're a bit confused, but yeah, only 4 people got 17 laps. Go me, I was one of them. I actually barely got that. Billboy, I was coming into the white flag lap or the checkered flag lap, and Plain Fox was barely behind me. I was like using my look behind constantly, like, oh god, Plain Fox might pass me before I cross the start finish here, and then I could lose a position or something. But yeah. Honestly, though, impressive from Jacko for getting a crash and then still coming back and being at 6th place.
Yep. As DJT
yeah,
saying in chat, it's just the best of the crashers.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
recovery flight for sure to
Yeah, it
just
was.
get back out there and stay consistent. And I'm sure that you got spat out in a weird spot and you had to deal with people and
Oh yeah.
yeah, you just never know where you're gonna end up when you come back into the race. When I
so
crashed first
many
time I came out
overtakes.
and I was and I was behind Dirk and Gerbo, and I did not want to make an aggressive overtake on either of them because I knew they were leading the X2 and I was like I can't
Yeah,
I can't just like dive bomb them or something like that and kill them.
There was a point you overtook me, Billboy, in a turn or something. I was like, well, there's Billboy.
Yeah,
He's gone.
yeah. It was a little scary, but
yeah, the comms that
yeah.
we had in our own voice chat during the races. Dirk, I'm right on your ass. Where can I overtake?
Yeah.
Just give me a spot and I'll take it, kind of thing. But I had the same thing. I did not want to accidentally hit him by accident, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to catch up at that point because
that helps a lot that you were able to have comms with Dirk and Gerbo, so you could at least know they could at least knew what was going on. Because I was just trying to feel it out without them knowing that I was behind them.
Yeah, the scary part is there was another 30 people that I did not have comms with that I had to get through as well.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah.
Dude, it was a full track. I was just thinking about this. 24 hours is only gonna be 10 ships on the track. That's gonna feel weird. It's gonna be so quiet.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if there's going to be different ship rotations. I mean, I don't imagine everybody's going to be. I mean, probably people will be running the same ships, just probably not at the same time. So
It's okay. Billboy and I were the 2 team captains for Black Star and Sangos. We've been discussing. We're gonna make sure we have the same ships out, so it's a close race the whole way.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Data Machine again. He is going to be taking part, right?
Yeah. The XGR's team is actually going to be kind of pretty scary. They're going to start from a little farther back, but like I think that they'll be in good shape, especially with so much easier of a version of the track with the normal forward direction, not the reverse direction. I think that will.
I'll be honest, I think the majority of the focus that they're going to be putting is on that because every time that I was logging into Star Citizen to practice for the Pro GP, I was seeing some members from the XGR team running standard layout. So
yeah.
Kind of felt like, okay, they're practicing for 24 hours, they're just going to wing it for Pro GP.
Yeah,
Data Machine did not wing it.
Machine, yeah, Data Machine definitely did not wing it. He had the technique down, he had the lines down, definitely. 100%. It's unfortunate the accident that he had quite late into the race because the pace was definitely there. To be honest, I got quite lucky, you could say, because even though I had the crash, I loaded almost instantly. Like my respawn was like less than 20 seconds after the blackout. So I immediately got up. I as soon as I got to the taxi, it showed up. I had an M50 already called in, so as soon as I got to the hangar, just get in the hangar, get in the M50 and go. It kind of like fell into place for me, because I was seeing Boltok still waiting for his ship to be claimed because Boltok crashed like 20 seconds before I did. He crashed at the exit of Providence. I crashed at the entrance of Kaplan. So, in fact, I believe the commentators thought that we crashed together. That's how close it was.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Cool.
but,
Okay,
at the
should
end of the
we?
day, that's the race, right?
Yeah. Should we quickly take a look at 24-hour? Just go again a brief over the grid maybe, and then I recommend everyone tune in to watch it. Like I say, the broadcast is going to be on for 24 hours, so guarantee you're going to be free in that time for 90% of you that you could at least catch it at some point.
Yeah.
It's happening
Yeah.
this weekend. We're talking 3 a.m. Pacific, so 6 a.m. Eastern on Saturday start. What's our UTC start, Jackin?
10 UTC.
10,
Yeah, I believe
10
10
UTC.
UTC is the start.
That sounds right. What's the
Which means
Aussie
it'll
time?
start an hour after that, though. That'll be like when they start making the grid, right?
Yeah. So, but it goes from then until
10 UTC
that
is when the
time in the
grid
morning the
formation will
next day.
start. 11 UTC
Yeah.
is when the race will start.
Yeah. And you have until 24 hours after that, so all day. Ludox in chat asked a question: it's time limited, or you just get all 17 laps? It is time limited. There's an hour, and the goal is whoever gets the most laps. And that's how you win.
Yeah.
Or if you don't get the most laps, it's it's like if you're ahead of them. But when the hour mark hits from the start of the race, a white flag gets called as the leader of the whole race crosses the start finish, and then when they cross again afterwards, that's checkered flag. And from that point on, anyone as you finish your race as you cross the start finish, and then it's whoever has the most laps or finish their laps first count or wins. So it is kind of time limited.
By any
How are we
chance,
doing,
do you
Jacko?
have the? I'm trying to find the
Grid?
qualifying grids.
Is it on ANZIA's Discord?
Should be somewhere.
It should be.
24-hour
I'm
team
not seeing
pits. 24-hour team pits channel under Crux Cup 24-hour.
Yeah, at the very top.
Yeah,
Very
just gotta
top.
scroll all the way up.
Yeah, scroll up all the way.
Can you send me a link to it, because I can't find it.
Let me send this to you. Copy. I'll send you this image. I'll just put it in our Discord here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do while he's getting this. I'll give you a
Perfect.
really quick rundown. 24-hour Crux Cup is a 24-hour race. There are 10 teams competing. Each team have 6 team members. You only have one pilot out on the track at any one time. You have 4 different ship chassis. You choose from a list of like 6 or 7, and you pick your 4 that you want to use. And you use each ship chassis for about 6 hours in that 24-hour time. And the winner of the race is whoever completes the most laps in 24 hours. It'll be an overall leader gets a checkered flag as they cross the start finish. I'm excited for this. I wonder how close to the final lap counts are going to be. They're going to be, for some of us, I think they'll be like the same lap number. Just, yeah. Order of ships going to be interesting too.
Yeah, there's
I'm
everybody
excited.
on this grid is just.
Yeah, it's gonna
scary.
I mean, I think that it's really with how the last race went. I think that pace won't be nearly as important over that much time. I think that a lot of it will be just being consistent because I mean, I guess crashes don't affect you nearly as much as they did during the standard Crux Cup, because you as soon as you crash, your next pilot can just take off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it depends where on the track you crash.
Right. So
you want to.
Yeah. So you just lose basically all the time you spent on the current lap you're on. So
Yeah.
if you were 2 minutes into your lap and then you crash, that you lose 2 minutes. But if you crash right on going through the start finish, then you lose no time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I just have no idea how it's gonna play out. It's just gonna be chaos, I think. But it should be a lot of fun.
Sanguis Luna win. I'm calling it.
But honestly, I gotta say, I am a Sanguis Luna, obviously. But I gotta say, given the way the Pro GP went, and I was actually having this conversation with Fresh, it was humbling. I'll be completely honest. I mean, Sanguis Luna, for at least the vast majority of 2024, if Sanguis Luna was on the grid, Sanguis Luna was probably first. I'm trying to be as humble as I possibly can, but the truth of the matter is that Sanguis had kind of a dominating run in 2024, and to be able to come into this race and having this kind of competition, it was so close. And obviously, there's there were some unfortunate mishaps that people can take advantage of, and like there's a luck element, but there's also the fact that the pace was still there, and it was not a breeze whatsoever. Like, I'm not saying it has been a breeze this whole time, but the fact that you put people in this kind of competitive scene and say, okay, everything's on the line now, show me what you got, and there is this level of competition across the board. I mean, the same with Jelly, right? Jelly, from the moment that he started racing, he has been crushing time trial after time trial. Like, if you give him a line, he'll probably destroy the record on it. Like, he's so fast, and yet Colbosa, who doesn't really participate that much in time trials, was keeping up with him for the whole race from beginning to end, right on top of each other. So it's so nice to see this competition, because at the end of the day, I mean, winning is nice, but winning by a gigantic margin is just like, okay, it's nice to have to work for it, kind of thing. So yeah, this is the conversation I was having with Fresh. It was nice to see that kind of competition. It makes the win feel much better, So
Yeah.
Again, huge congratulations to Blackstar for getting that A-Crux this year. So we'll be coming next year.
Let's go playing Fox. But yeah, I think that's 2024 was a bit of a down year for racing for some months. So I think that when a huge event like this comes up, all those pilots who have not raced for a while and maybe show up to one or two events in 2024, all of a sudden everybody's there. So all those great pilots come out of the woodworks and makes it a lot tighter of a race and a lot less room for error.
Yeah. I mean, not to brag, but you're talking Jacko, how SL had been pretty dominant. We had a combined. I just did a quick check on our accolade sheet. This isn't like individual. This is the individuals who got like a first place in a race. We had more than 50 of them in the last year. So
yeah, and
it's
I mean,
that's
took
kind of
part in pretty much
ridiculous.
every race that the racing community came up with. We were there in some way, shape, or form. So. But to be fair, though, I think we were, as Bill Boy said, it was kind of a down year for racing. But Sanguis Luna was, we were
that's how you
active
win
the whole
races.
time.
If you're active and you're practicing a lot, you're gonna win races.
Our
whoever
team's
puts
been
more
very
time
active.
usually is gonna do the best.
We're very blessed to have the pilots that we do on our team, so it's been exciting. Okay, we should probably call it. We're getting there.
One last remark that I want to mention is something regarding ground racing, actually. Swap like this, it's not going to let me. EchoBit released this week.
Oh, yeah.
The new Spectra Ocean Circuit. I believe Spectra Ocean Circuit is the actual full name of the track. It is a brand new grav racing track.
Endurance grav racing track.
Endurance grav racing track. It's a long lap. I think it's about a 3.5 minute lap, I believe. And yeah, it is fantastic. I was lucky enough to be a part of the making of it, so got a very nice insider look at it as it was being created. It is a fantastic track, and it's probably going to be the foundation for a lot of the grav racing happening this year. And in fact, I think today Echo just released, like, what was it, 8 grav racing events scheduled between now and the end of the summer. So if you have any interest whatsoever in grav racing, then check out this track right now, as there is a bounty on SCR.GG currently running for it. So the fastest top 10 times on the SCR.GG board will get put into a raffle for the pack of all the racing suits, and the top time will be guaranteed the racing suits.
All the racing suits, yep. And that closes Friday, April 25th.
Yep.
I have 7 p.m. Pacific. So what do you have a UTC on that one?
1 second. I have it. It closes on Saturday, April 26th at 3 a.m. UTC.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you're not in ANZIA's Discord, get in there. Check these races out. These are gonna be great.
Ludax
It's gonna be
is
such a
already on it. Hell yeah, let's go. Yeah,
This is gonna be
There
such
you
a
go,
visually
Ludax.
incredible race with all the water effects and stuff. It's gonna
it's
be
so good.
gonna be good
It
one
feels
to watch,
so
I think.
good to drive on it.
Yeah,
Such an amazing job on this.
grab bikes are really fun as long as you're on water.
Yeah.
they are brutal anywhere else, but when you're on perfectly
Yeah.
flat surface like water, they're pretty fun.
If I can make it, I will probably compete in these, but we'll see. They're endurance races, and it's hard to always set the time aside for it. But I know Sangos Luna will be there. We'll have pilots at each one of those, so
Yeah, and
be
these
prepared to
are
lose to the Sangos Luna boys.
these are similar to the Crux Cup in the sense that the classes are mutually exclusive, right? So if you join the Nox class, you can't be in the X1 and the Pulse as well. So you choose your class, you get your race day, and that's the only one that you can compete with for that event. So pick your favorite. There's a class literally for every bike. So the Nox it's on a league of its own. The X1 is in the hover quad, I believe. It shares with the hover quad, which honestly, the hover quad kind of loses that every day of the week. So the X1 practically has a class of its own. Dragonfly and the Pulse LX. So
Yeah,
pick your
cool.
favorite, find what day it is, keep it free.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting with me, fellas.
Of course, dude.
Yeah.
And I think the
We had
next
a
one will
long topic
be
for this.
yeah, well, it's definitely going to be after the 24 hours. So we'll have the 24 hour to talk about, and we'll have race 1 and 2 of System 7 for sure. And we'll see if anything else comes up in the meantime.
Yeah,
But
it'll
I'm not
probably
sure
be
if
sometime middle of the next week or the whole next weekend, depending on, I guess, how schedules work out, right?
yeah, because
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
try
think we're
doing
going
it
to
on
be doing
Sunday
it on
again.
the Sunday.
No,
I'm
we're
not
definitely
sure
not doing it Sunday night.
Yeah,
No, not that Sunday.
not that
No.
Sunday. We're going to be
No.
zombies.
It
at
would be
that
the
day.
earliest would be Sunday, April 6th, if anyone is curious.
Yeah, but we'll make an announcement on the XGR Discord. So if you're not already on there, get on there and keep an eye out on the announcement page. We'll be announcing the next episode from there. And if you've joined late and want to rewatch it, I will be posting the VOD on my YouTube channel. So youtube.com/@Jackaden. You'll have the whole playlist of all the other podcast episodes there. And if you're interested in racing, obviously there's going to be well, there already are a bunch of guides on getting into it. So if you liked the Crux Cup and want to get into it, that's your hub for all your information. But that's my plug out of the way. Any last things before we head off, guys?
I think we're good.
I'm good.
See you guys next weekend.
All right, fantastic. See you guys for the next one. Thank you.
07s.